In a podcast land where thoughts collide, Brian and Craig will be your guide. No topic too small, no tale too tall. Tune in, laugh out, you'll have a ball. From mysteries deep to light-hearted jokes in a poker rhythm where laughter invokes. Untitled is their name, the fun untamed. Each episode a ride, this shows their claim. Untitled, Brian and Craig, get ready for a twist and a leg shake. In a quirky world where anything goes, join the ride as the madness flows.
Okay, checking outside, it's a level 1 goose warning.
Oh, that's nothing. That's basically a green light on the old terror index or whatever. Remember that thing when they used to have like colors to tell us how dangerous the world was?
Yeah.
They have raised it to orange. What does that mean, George Bush? Really, no one knows, but it's orange now. Okay, cool.
Yeah, George. What a time, George.
George. I'd take George right now in a heartbeat. George sounds great.
You know, I saw a video of him recently. He was talking about passing immigration law, and this was in like 2011, and he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna take a while, like 2040." I'm like, "Jeez."
What's funny is when you were saying that you saw George and he was talking about passing, and then you stopped talking for a second. The thing that not passing away, passing gallstones is what entered into my head, and I'm like, why would George Bush be like, where is this going? And then, passing legislation. Yeah, I guess he was a politician, and that's the thing that they tried to do. So okay, very good. Anyway, enough about George Bush. It's a beautiful Saturday.
It's raining. It's raining. It's raining like hell here, but
oh well. In this part of the world, it is a beautiful Saturday. It's supposed to get up to 70 degrees, and it's lovely. So,
well,
yeah,
we love that for you.
Yeah, it's great.
So what I did is, the Pope died, so that consumed.
Heard about that?
That consumed whole
professional
life.
The whole news having to talk about the Pope thing. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's kind of funny. I'm not going to tell you who, but we were just sitting all working, doing our thing, and then at 3:53 in the morning, I just hear, "Holy shit, the Pope is dead."
Okay.
And I was like, "What?" And wouldn't you know it, good old Franciscus kicked the old bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, JD Vance.
It's such a funny meme. That meme is so funny.
JD Vance, the angel of death. Oh.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Stupid. It's stupid, and I love it.
Oh.
Anyways, so there was that. I also spent my week unpacking the house, and this morning I put up a vanity mirror.
Okay.
An over the toilet storage rack, moved some books around in a bookshelf, rearranged a bunch of stuff, and I finally, after a long time, actually worked out, and I feel pretty good.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
It sounds like life is slowly getting into shape for you there, up there in the I was gonna say the Pacific Northwest. Is it the Atlantic Northeast? Do we call it? That's not. You're not even the Atlantic though. Where are you?
I'm like Great Lakes.
Great Lakes area. There you go. It's like
I'm like Great Lakes.
Yeah. Because New York is big, and you are on the western side of it, so it's not really.
I'm about an hour away from Pennsylvania.
There you go.
If that. So yeah, Oh, and we went to the corner pizza shop, and I had literally the biggest calzone and best calzone in my life.
You have the best of something every week, which I think is great. I love that for you.
Well, you know what? You're gonna have to come visit for like 5 days, and we're just gonna get really, really fat. Like, I have the time off, my dude. Let's get fat. You know what? My goal is to contract diabetes. That is my goal.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll see what we can do to make that happen. Heart attacks. That's, I'm pushing 50, so we should definitely eat as much cholesterol as possible.
As much cheese and bread.
Yes.
And fried food. Yes. Let's do it.
Let's get those carbs down, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
They'll call us Carb Master.
Isn't that if you eat less carbs? Isn't that
I think that's what it is.
Actually. I think that's what that is. So we're like I was gonna say carb slave, but that sounds terrible.
Slave.
Well, Master slave. I was like, what's the opposite of master? And then my brain immediately goes to slave, and that's not good.
No,
Let's not do that. Strike
no.
that from the record. You can keep it in the podcast, but it never happened.
I gotta say this though. Carb Slave is the name of my heavy metal band. We are Carb Slave.
Have you heard the new drop from Carves the Slave? They're amazing.
Yeah.
They do stuff with a triangle that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and a theremin, amazing.
Yeah, and a triangle in a hard rock band. You wouldn't expect it, but they rule.
Yeah. We actually brought up Carb Slave in the Lost episode. Just saying.
What? We did.
We did. I don't know. We can retroactively say anything.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't the last episode though. It was episode 22, and this is episode 25.
Yeah. So
yeah. Episode 22, we did talk about Carb Slave, and we actually played one of their singles.
Yes.
It's the first time we've actually played some music on an episode. So yeah, that was. I mean, it's a shame that one's lost to history because so much content.
Yeah, an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes just gone. Poof.
That part's actually true. We just wouldn't shut up that day.
True. It's true. Yeah, I should see if I could find. We should do the Lost episode redux. Ooh, maybe for our 1-year anniversary, we could do the Lost episode redux.
That's funny. I like that very much. Oh, anywho, my week. It started out good on Sunday last week. My son and I are hanging out. He's throwing a ball around because that's what he does whenever he's awake, pretty much, is he has a ball, and so it's like a little soft blue basketball that he's like dribbling and stuff. And then he looks at me and he says, "So, are we going to the Nuggets game tomorrow night?" I'm like, "Well," I mean, if you buy the tickets, I'll go. And so the dude hops on his phone, and this is the lovely thing about having a son with a job. He buys 2 tickets to the Nuggets game.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, and my son and I went to the game on Monday night, which was a very good game. But sadly, the Nuggets fell by 3 points. They couldn't hit a 3-pointer in the last 25 seconds or whatever to tie it up and send it to overtime. So
yeah,
and then they got beat by like 35 or something last time they played. So they're down 2-1 in the series, and things are not looking good. But
they can do it.
They can do it.
They got it.
Jokic will find a way. So anyway,
I literally just bought a new Nuggets hat for the team.
Nice, very good. I'm currently wearing a Nuggets hat in solidarity because I want to say I still believe. I don't know that I still believe. I think they're going to lose the series, but I still hope. I still hope they're going to win. So we'll see.
All right,
anyway,
negative Nancy.
Hey man, I'm just telling it like it is. That's what I think is going to happen. That's not what I hope happens. I'm not saying it can't happen. The Nuggets can absolutely win. So I'm not gonna. Just like when the Broncos are going to play the Bills, I hope that the Broncos are going to win, but I did not expect it, and it turned out I was right. So anyway, oh yes, and then on Tuesday of this week, my boss asked that I update a cover letter for our VA appraisal package. And Brian knows where this is going.
Yeah, I do.
As do probably several people that are listening to this, because I've told this story to several people within the Pokemon Go community. But yeah, she asked me if I would update our cover letter. And our cover letter has been around since around, I think, like 2020. And it talks about like how to safely enter a home and how to, or like the problem with supply chain problems that we're having and stuff. So it's like all this stuff that's relics from COVID that we are no longer having these problems and no longer need to have it in our cover letter. So I went ahead and I rewrote the letter. But the real important thing to this letter is that there is a photograph on the old one of this dorky actor who is dressed up in like cosplay of being a construction worker, basically. But he's way too clean. His hair is way too well. He's not. You can't see his hair because he has on a hard hat. Yeah. Everything is just. You can tell this is not a real construction guy.
I accidentally left my. Hold that thought. I accidentally left my dog outside.
Oh, go get Roki. Go get Roki.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay. I don't know what's happening, but Brian is yelling "holy shit" in the background and laughing. So that's fun. I don't know. Hey, Brian. Since you're the only one who'll be listening to this, because we're going to cut it out of the podcast. How you doing, bud? How you doing? I will have some more of my coffee.
No. Okay. I'm back. Whoa.
Hi.
Hi. I'm gonna leave that in. That was funny.
Okay, very good. Well, there's some parts you're probably going to need to cut out because there's a lot of holy shit, and then you giggling and stuff in the background that I could hear. So I don't know what happened, but everything okay with Roki?
Yeah, she's fine.
Okay, very good. So anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah.
Construction man, way too clean. Cover letter.
Yes, fake head hat, fake hard hat, the whole nine. So I don't like this picture because it's really stupid and it makes us look dumb. And so as I was having my conversation with my supervisor, I told her that we need to remove this picture and get something different. And she's like, well, I guess we could do that. I'm like, what we need is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And apparently she didn't think that that made sense, but she's wrong. And so,
yeah, she's wrong.
She's totally wrong. So this week I went ahead. She gave me like 2 weeks to get it done, but I'm a go-getter. I got it done this week, mostly because I wanted to do this. I wanted to. Well, what I did is I removed the picture and then I drew a picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex holding a sign that has our company's name on it, and
Amazing.
then I put it into the cover letter. Like I just put it where the old picture had been.
Right.
And then and made all the real edits and everything. So we have a form that looks very professional, except there's a Craig doodle of a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the top left corner. And quite frankly, it's awesome. And if they know what they were doing and they had any kind of sense of humor and wanted to market themselves in a way that makes us memorable, they would keep it in. But I would 100% guarantee you, 100% guarantee you that I will not be allowed to keep the Tyrannosaurus Rex in our cover letter, which is sad because it's awesome. But
yeah,
my company's loss is untitled with Brian Craig's gain, because then I decided to make a new logo for our show with Brian and I looking up at the Tyrannosaurus Rex in a very Jurassic Park-esque scene. There's no cup of water that's got tremors happening in it, but it's still pretty great. So I'll post that. I don't know if we'll ever use that for anything, but it will be posted on our fabulous
award-winning
Instagram page. I don't know that it's won an award yet, but it should.
I don't know, man. I don't have these answers for you, dude.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. So yeah, so that happened this week, and then most importantly, Brian.
Okay.
Last night at 8:00 Mountain Time.
No.
He just realized.
I was like, where is he going? And then I was like, no.
I went to spermracing.com and tuned in to their live stream. And Brian, let me just tell you, it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it was some of the worst content I have ever seen.
So now you understand why I love B movies. I still will never bring myself to watch that horrible dog shit, but I and he texted me yesterday. He's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm gonna do this tonight. I'm like, you better fucking not. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do it now. and he absolutely fucking did. I can't. No, I can't believe you watched Jizz Racing.
No, dude. Okay, there were about 3 minutes of fantastic content.
3 minutes of fantastic content.
And hear me out here. The actual sperm racing was incredible. It was incredible. Like, they did a really, really good job with it. I don't know how they did it. Maybe it was computer animated. That's altogether possible. It could have completely been fake. I don't know. Okay. But when they actually had the little swimmers going against each other, they had it under a microscope, and then they had these 2 tracks for each of the different contestants' seed to go through this. It was like a simulated fallopian tube thing, but it was very clinical. It was all white and black, and they would just go through, and you could see the little swimmers, and they would go fast and then go slow. It was, and at one point, one of the group of sperm got way ahead, and then the other one caught up, and it was scintillating sports content, Brian. And I'm not even joking when I say that. That 3 minutes of the actual sperm racing was great. There was two groups of competitors. I know you do, but trust me.
Hate this.
You need to know about this. There was at a concert they have the opening act or whatever. There was they had these 2 YouTubers that were the opening act, and I'd never heard of either of these people before. I don't think they were super big, but they did a single race just between their seeds, and then the USC versus UCLA portion was a best of 3 race, and so there were
Okay.
4 total sprints.
Oh,
That
God.
content was good. That content was really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome. The problem is everything else about the event was absolute utter garbage. Like they don't, I
Well,
don't. They had like one sportscaster type guy who was sitting between one guy in a UCLA sweatshirt and one guy in a USC sweatshirt,
okay.
and they would cut to like the sports desk, like like pregame kind of thing,
Right.
and he would talk. But then they also had this Asian girl who's probably in like her mid 30s, I think, and she was.
Okay.
Imagine if you had Aquafina, but then you removed any charm or humor and
Huh.
made her about 37% louder than Aquafina.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, you do not like that at all. So she was yelling a lot, and then there was this like timid, light-skinned black guy who was her co-host on the front of the stage, and
Okay.
it's clear that they're probably some kind of influencers or something, and they were paid to come to Los Angeles to host the event, but given absolutely no idea about what they're supposed to talk about. So
Oh, no.
they're basically up front vamping for 2 hours and like bringing up different contestants and stuff, and then like the producer, and sometimes this is produced so badly. Sometimes they would like cut to the guy at the sports desk and he was talking, but they didn't change the audio, so you're still hearing the people vamping in the background, and you see the sports content. Like it is the worst production I have ever seen. As somebody who works in TV would just like want to die at how bad the production of almost everything about this thing was. Like they had no idea what they were doing. They pulled up both sets of contestants at different times, and
Mm-hmm.
they did like a weigh in, like where they stood on scales and they weighed them in, and they like were interviewing them about their diet, but like this went on for like an hour, Brian. They wouldn't shut up, and they're just talking, and they're just wherever the conversation would go, but like not in an interesting way. And so you're talking about like 22 and 21-year-old people who have nothing to say and are just talk. Oh
Oh.
God, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. And then the entire audience, about 90% of them were people from USC, and there was like maybe 6 people there from UCLA. So like anytime
Oh,
like, oh,
no.
who's here to support UCLA, and it's like crickets, and then who's here to support USC, and it was much louder than there were probably like 3 or 4 thousand people in the audience though. Like it was, I have no idea how they got that many people to come there for this nothing event, but they did, and I guess they charged $20 a ticket. So I mean,
Oh, jeez.
dude, it was some of the worst content I have ever seen. It is the B movie of live events.
The
Like,
B movie of live events.
oh my God,
Just-
it was terrible. So, but if it was done with like people with a sense of humor and
Okay.
people that actually have some idea of how to talk into a microphone and say anything interesting, and they didn't just bring up these idiots who were both sets of contestants at one point, like they do the like in boxing where they like stand face to face or whatever, they do that.
Yeah.
They both, at the first set that they only went one time, those guys just started fighting because one guy pulled out a squirt gun and just squirted the other guy in the face, and then
Okay, that's actually kind of funny.
and then it turned into almost like this entire brawl. Like and this is not like it wasn't like they were doing it to try to pump up the audience or anything. This was legit just stupid people getting angry at each other and like potential chaos where like all of a sudden there's, because they also have all like they both have like their posses on stage. One guy had
Right.
all of his crew were like wrapped up in white and like basically dressed up like sperm, like they had costumes on.
No.
Dude, and so they were fighting, and then after the first race, the guy from USC, his sperm, or no, from UCLA lost the first race,
Mhm.
and so he was, I think, angry about it or like embarrassed or something. And so as they're walking back, he starts pushing the guy from USC. They start,
Oh,
because
God.
there's like a center stage and then like the main stage. So they
Mhm.
went to the center stage where the race was happening and the microscope was and stuff, back to the main
Mhm.
stage, and he starts pushing him, and then they end up getting like, he shoves him to the ground, and they start like hitting each other. Like it's just a bunch of idiots with too much testosterone,
Okay.
and
I
it was
just
awful. Brian, it was awful. It was so bad. But
It
if
sounds
done
awful.
properly, it could have been a 30-minute spectacular bit of content. Like it has it has the bones. They just don't know what they're doing. That's the problem. They need a real producer. They need to have like a plan. They need to have actual talent who knows how to like talk.
Well, yeah, that
All of
would
these
help.
things. But they stretched it out to 2 hours and 20 minutes of vamping and 3 minutes of actual good content because it was run by morons. But it wasn't good. I don't recommend because it's
It
still live on
wasn't
their
good.
it's still live on their feed, and you or not live, but you can go back and watch the events
Nope.
if you want to on YouTube.
Nope. Nope. Mm-mm.
I highly recommend not doing that. It was awful, but I'm also kind of glad that I watched it because it was so dumb. So anyway, that's my week, Brian.
Hatred.
Oh, I know. Every time I texted Brian about this week, I could just feel the anger boiling within him through text. Through text, I could feel the hatred, and it gave me life. I love so much how much you hate this. I love it so much, Brian. But I'll stop. It's over.
Oh.
I've had my fun, and it's time. It's time to move on. Sperm racing.
Oh, I'm gonna get you back.
Yeah, so I hear. Just as a bit of forward promotion before we get to that point, Brian texts me this picture of this thing, and he tells me I'm not allowed to look it up. But it looks like a weird bowling pin kind of thing. It says original vacuum cup, which has me terrified. But then the thing that really has me scared is it says content, and then there's 4 words after it, and it says one device with lotion. And I don't know what that means, but I am afraid that I am going to get retribution for my my sperm racing harassment of Brian this week. Yeah, it's coming, so I'm worried about that. But first, the news! All right, Brian.
Okay.
There's some interesting news this week. We're going to start out with Belgium because Belgians are doing something right, Brian.
Okay.
A brewery in Belgium on Easter this week decided to swap painted eggs for frothy brews when it celebrated Easter with the world's biggest beer hunt.
Beer hunt?
Yeah, instead of an egg hunt, like traditionally done on Easter.
Okay.
Well, they actually did it. They did an egg hunt. They hid eggs for little kids, and then like an hour later, they hid 12,000 bottles of Lutgard beer across the Eyewires Gardens in Lausanne. I'm going to say Lausanne, Lasne.
Okay.
I have no idea how that's pronounced. Lausanne, Belgium.
Okay.
So in this garden, they hid 12,000 bottles of beer, and then just sent people who had registered to be part of this event out to go hunt for beers. So they're just roaming through the gardens, picking up beer in bottles, and then they had a big barbecue and just drank the beers and had a big party after the beer hunt. So I'm just saying, eggs, beer. I'm more into a beer hunt than I am into an egg hunt, if I'm being honest.
I feel that better. Yeah.
Yeah, that just sounds fun. So I'm just saying, Belgium, doing it right. I just I thought I'd mention that story. We don't have to go too in deep on it, but
Yeah, no, that's cool. We like that.
it's good. It's a good one. Okay, from the people who brought you, dolphins are getting high.
Yes.
Comes, chimpanzees are getting drunk together. Yay!
I love that.
You love everything about it. You really do. So yeah, a team of British researchers who are studying chimpanzees in West Africa recently documented the primates eating and sharing alcoholic fruit. Now we talked about this at the time when we were talking about the dolphins. How there's
Right.
lots of animals that find like fermented fruit and get down on it or whatever. This is the first time that chimpanzees have been filmed doing this, apparently, and so they were very excited to get this. And what they found amazing is chimpanzees not notorious sharers. Like they tend to be kind of selfish, don't want to share their food, that kind of thing. But apparently, when it came to this fruit that they found, which is breadfruit, I believe was what it's called, they knew it. I think they knew that it had alcohol in it because they got a little wasted. But they it seemed like it was helping to form and strengthen their social bond because they were sharing it amongst each other without any kind of animosity, which is very unusual for chimpanzees. And I think it could be like early evolutionary like social behavior where they're getting together and feasting. Like I mean, of course, as later on the evolutionary chain, humans, we love to get together and feast and share our alcohol and drinks together and have a lovely time. But apparently, This is something that chimpanzees are beginning to do as well, and I find that lovely that they're all getting together and getting drunk. So, if it's a bunch of 17-year-olds in the woods all getting drunk together, we call it a crime. But if it's chimpanzees, we call it evolutionary progress. So, it all depends on your perspective and whether or not you're in high
Yeah.
school or not.
And teens, they are doing an evolution of
Yeah,
sorts.
that's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, okay, those are the preliminary stories now for the main event.
Okay.
This is the first time I think in the history of Untitled that I'm using a story, and the first two words of that story. This is the first time I've ever used one that has these first two words, and those two
Okay.
words are the very magical Florida man.
Love it.
You got to. You've got to. Yeah.
Everything with Florida Man is just batshit insane.
It's so good. So this particular Florida man, his name is Mike Dragic, also known on social media as the Blue Collar Brawler.
A blue collar brawler. Okay.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Well, Mike was having Easter dinner this week, and he was interrupted by a call from a local resident there in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And so he had to cut short his Easter dinner because Mike is an animal trapper, and there was a gator in one of his neighbor's yards, so he needed to go and get the gator. Now, Mike had just been enjoying his Easter dinner in the traditional way of the Florida man, which is to say a tank top, shorts, and no shoes.
Right. With a mustard stain.
It is a mustard yellow shirt because there is video.
Oh.
So there could be a mustard stain, but he wisely wore a shirt that's also the same color, so the mustard stain wouldn't actually stain because Mike is smart and he knows that mustard stains are a danger for Florida man. So he just leans into it by wearing the mustard colored shirt. Anyway, Mike did not want to put on his gear. He decided that would be silly. So he didn't bother even putting on shoes. So he shows up to this woman's house with a tank top, shorts, and no shoes.
Okay.
And there was a 7-foot gator in the backyard. He didn't bring any of his tools. So he just takes, those like trash cans that the city gives you that are kind of big and they have like a little floppy lid or whatever that you can.
Yeah.
They're pretty big. He just takes one of those and he goes out to the back and he starts backing the gator up towards a fence with the trash can. And he just keeps pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until the gator is inside the trash can. And then he flips the trash can over with the gator, mouth bottom of the trash can, tail at the top. And the gator and then he like slowly levers it up and the gator falls into the trash can. He puts the lid down and he's like, job done. And that's the end of the video, but he got rid of the gator apparently. So he just used the tools available to him, which was, he didn't have anything other than his tank top, his shorts, and a plastic bin.
Shoes and a plastic
bin. Shoes. Yes. What could possibly go wrong? I'm going to tell this.
I respect it.
Yeah, I'm going to say this for the blue collar brawler. He gets the job done. Like the gator removed. So I don't know what more to say than that other than Florida man is amazing, and we should all endeavor to be more like the blue collar
Florida man. Like this Florida man.
Yeah, he didn't take any drugs that I can tell at least. Maybe that's how.
I guess it's just implied that he's meth fueled.
Potentially. He seems like he's rather with it though. Like he doesn't seem like he's in any kind of meth-induced craze. But who's to say? He used the tools at hand and he made something happen, which often happens with meth heads. So his teeth also seem way too good to be a meth head. So
okay, well, all right.
I think he's just a guy who knows how to handle a gator. So anyway, I'm Craig, and that is the news.
The news. All right, Craig. So that thing, the picture I sent you.
Yes. What's the name? What's the name of the item?
It's called a tenga.
A tenga. Tenga.
Yes. Okay.
Brian, I'm afraid.
And do you know what it's used for?
No, but I know that lotion is involved.
It is a, how does it say? It's a masturbatory device.
I hate it. I hate everything about it thus far. Perhaps it was used in conjunction with sperm racing. Who's to say?
Anyway, I don't know. But these things are everywhere in Japan. There's a whole line of them, and I have held one. I have touched one. I have never used one.
That's good to hear. When you held and touched one, it was unused. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they can't you can't buy a used one unless you're. I mean, shit, man. They sell used panties and bras. I mean, fuck. They might. I don't know.
There's probably a market for it.
There's
Somewhere.
probably a market for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly used.
Anyways, so yeah, so you can pretty much figure out how they are used, but it gets better / worse.
Yes, I was a
Are
good
you-
boy, and I did not look up any of this, so this is all coming
Good.
as news to me. So I'm worried. I'm worried about the better / worse. But yes, please proceed. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
So the company that makes it, Tenga, is a well-respected and known company.
Okay.
In Japan, and way back 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, they tried a stunt to make July 21st National Handjob Day.
No, Brian,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Brian, no.
Yes.
Brian, no.
Yes. National Handjob Day.
You know how you felt last week when I was going into the details of sperm racing?
Yeah. Oh no. You're strap in, buddy. Strap in.
To quote a wise man named Brian, I hate this. I hate everything about this.
Craig, are you familiar with the Power Ranger?
Yes, mostly because of Instagram reels that you sent to me. But yes, I am familiar with the concept of a Power Ranger.
Okay, well, it's not as good as Starfish Hitler, but because Starfish. So for those, so we haven't talked about this, but I have the most cursed Instagram, and it shows like
this is true
stuff like American Ninja, and it's literally just a fucking cowboy.
But he's like doing like flips and twists as he's shooting his 6-shooters with his cowboy hat on.
It's actually pretty cool.
And he's very Asian, by the way, as well. Yes.
And then they had this one character, so they all have these themed monsters. You know, they have to give the monster a name, and they say their name. And one of them was Starfish Hitler, which, as you can imagine, was a starfish. Was a dude in a starfish costume with a Hitler mustache.
Yes.
It was amazing. and like by amazing, I mean ridiculous.
Awful, yes. And a Third Reich uniform as well, I believe. Yeah. So that is a thing that exists. That my Instagram feed is slowly becoming more and more cursed as a result of things being sent from Brian to mine. It's like a venereal disease of Instagram reels.
I'm clipping that.
Yes, you should.
So anyways, way back in 2015, Tenga decided they were going to make July 21st National Handjob Day. And to commemorate the occasion, they created a Super Sentai character named Tenga Man. They even released a 35-minute short film, a magnum opus of sorts.
Oh, no.
And what do you think this Power Ranger styled superhero did, Craig, to defeat his enemies?
Brian, I just spent 2 hours and 20 minutes last night watching a sperm racing live event, and I'm more afraid of whatever you're about to say now than I was the entire time I watched that. I don't know, but I mean, it's National Handjob Day. I don't understand how that defeats someone, but I'm assuming it has something to do with that. And again, for the record, I hate this very much.
I'm tearing. I'm tearing. Okay. He jerks them off violently, Craig.
Somehow it's worse when you say it. Oh, God.
And I'm going to send this video to you, and you'll probably never watch it.
Accurate.
But I have seen it before. No. And when you mentioned sperm racing, I was laughing when I watched it, because obviously it's tongue in cheek. It knows what it's about. But yeah, it lives in the annals of history, and the amount of money that they put into it is kind of impressive. Like I'm not gonna lie, like they did a good job.
Is it?
Yes.
If they were to be giving a rating to this video, like say the Motion Picture Association of America was gonna, put like a letter next to it, would it be? Well, obviously, it's not going to be G.
No.
I'm guessing not PG or PG-13 either, but
also not.
Is it R or is it NC-17?
It's rated R.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somehow that makes me feel a tiny bit better. Not good.
Oh
But
no, they push the
they push
the
their R
R
rating.
rating. Oh yeah,
Oh.
it is pushed firmly. I should also tell you that it's not as bad as Hentai Kamen, which is a guy who becomes a superhero when he stretches his underwear over his face. He becomes a pervert superhero. So that is also something you know.
Brian,
Yeah.
what's wrong with Japan?
You know, I've thought about this, and I really think that it's an overly conservative culture. And when you have an overly conservative culture, you full of repressed men and women, you get shit like that.
Okay, so it's just like lashing out against the repression.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, I'll accept that as an answer. You just said a lot of things, and I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear.
I will read you this headline. Japan's quote superhero end quote Tangaman fights evil by giving villains hand jobs.
That's not how you fight crime. I'm just gonna say it. It's not. That's not. No. Nuh-uh.
But you could fight crime.
No.
You could fight crime with hand jobs.
Incorrect.
I'm just saying you could. You could absolutely fight crime with hand jobs. Can't believe I said that with a straight face. Jesus.
I tell people to listen to the show, and I'm beginning to regret it because what are we doing? What is even happening? I feel like
I don't know.
we've lost control.
Yeah, this is spiraled. This is spiraled out of control.
Wow. And again, for the record, I, Craig Dodge, hate this. Just hate.
Yes.
I understand your emotions last week, Brian. I feel.
Yeah.
I think you're enjoying the emotions I had last weekend. So.
Yes. I'm feeling very vindicated right now.
Yes, as you should. As you should.
Yes.
You've well, I feel like you need to watch the live stream now, quite frankly.
You know what? I will tell you what. I will watch the live stream if you watch Tangaman.
Oh God! What kind of Faustian agreement is this? Oh no.
Hey, I'm the one that's suffering because you said it was 2 hours and 20 minutes of dog shit.
Oh, you have to skip around a bit because you don't watch the whole damn thing. But you do need to watch the actual sperm racing, and okay. You should get at least a little bit of a taste of just how bad the production is. You should, I think if you invest 15 minutes of your time, you're good. You're good. Okay. So you should check that out. Spermracing.com if anyone else wants to really waste their life. Oh God, right. This is gonna be in my browser history now. This video of the crime fighting sexual deviant.
Crime fighting sexual deviant. Actually, that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty fun.
You like that one? Good.
I did, yeah. Oh man. I will say, okay. I think I have one.
You think you have? Oh, a movie pitch?
I think I have one.
Okay, I wasn't prepared to transition to movie pitches already, but it is time. That does make sense. Okay. It is with great amounts of fear that I say, Brian, please proceed.
Okay, we're gonna have a woman, and she's a Nuggets fan, and her let's say her girlfriend is like, hey, let's go to the Nuggets game. So they go to the Nuggets game, and on the way into Ball Arena, she sees a man duck out of sight. She's like, oh, what's up with that? And so she goes behind Ball Arena and is like, what the hell? And then she finds the man, and it's a dude, let's just say using a tanga. And she's like, oh, gross, what the hell?
Oh,
it is Denver. Let's be honest, it's Denver.
Hey now.
That's not the bad part of Denver. It's not Colfax. They're just saying.
No, Ball Arena is a perfectly respectable part of town.
So yeah. Anyways, so she's like, "Oh, gross," and she turns around, and she's getting ready to go, and the guy's like, "No, wait, it's not what you think." And she's like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. You're taking care of yourself over there." And he's like, "No, wait," and he turns around, and it's this cup that's like eating him, like trying to eat him from his nether regions. And she's like, "Oh God, no!" And then it hears her, and then it leaps from him to her, but she doesn't have but she doesn't have the equipment. No, she
Right.
doesn't.
No, she wouldn't.
She wouldn't. So then it's like, fuck this. And then it jumps onto her face like alien style, right? And then she sees, and then she's like, here's the thing's thoughts. And it's like, what is this? You don't have these pieces. You don't have the part that I'm looking for. She's like, well, yeah, I don't. I was born without one. And then and then the Tenga's like, you know what? I need you to help me fight crime. And this is not the ideal body type. And so she's like, wait, what? And so she transforms into Tenga Man with the actual parts and fights evil. And then in one of the origin stories, she has to you're just cringing the whole time.
I'm so scared.
She has to like, fly down to Florida and defeat an evil conglomerate by, you guessed it, giving them an HJ.
Great.
And after he gets the HJ, he's like, "Oh, I can think again. I'm a terrible human being." And then on the way out, she helps save a person from an alligator, and she goes around and just kind of does good deeds, but it's very much obviously Power Ranger style. And through the entire movie, she's trying to like hide her alter ego as this weird sexual deviant man from her girlfriend. And she's like, what's going? And she's like, I this is too much for me. I am so confused. And it just keeps going. But the whole thing will be tastefully done, and is an allegory for the trans experience. So it will be done, tastefully, as tasteful as it can be.
Yes. Yes.
About a woman turning into a man to jerk other people off.
Yeah, tasteful is what screams out in my head as you describe the plot of your film.
Yes.
This is a very tasteful movie. Okay.
Yes. And there's a bunch of parts in there just to cram more stuff in. They get conscripted to help a handyman, a bad handyman. So they finish up the handyman's work, which is like hanging fixtures and stuff like that. So they do
Really,
good
Brian,
stuff.
A handyman.
Yeah, you like that? You like that?
God. I can't say that I do.
Yeah.
It was like I dropped a gauntlet last week and Brian picked it up and smacked me in the face with it real hard.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. All right. Well, I'm broken both on the inside and the outside. Spiritually, I may never recover from the events of today, but I'm gonna try. And
Okay.
I also have a film idea.
Okay.
And the movie, I already have the movie title. It's just gonna be called Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Yeah. And it follows, a guy, we'll call him, I don't know, the blue collar brawler. We might have to get life rights or something. I don't know. We'll have to negotiate with Mike.
Okay.
But he's just enjoying a holiday dinner with his family, having a nice time. When all of a sudden, it's not a phone call that erupts him. It's like a call from another dimension. It's like time space
from another dimension.
Yeah, it's like a hole is ripped in the time space continuum, and like a bright light shines down upon him and says, "Mike, you have been chosen to be Florida Man, but first you must pass all of the tests required."
A Florida Man test.
Yes, the Florida Man test. And so Mike is not the blue collar brawler that we have learned of today. He's just a regular dude, just working.
Mm-hmm.
He works in an insurance office, so he's not what you would expect from Florida Man. But the universe saw something in him and said, "This guy has what it takes. He just doesn't know it yet. He just has to pass all these tests because he has in his soul the thing that's needed to be Florida Man."
Ooh.
And so he's like magically transported into a backyard, and it's like, "All right, you must capture this gator." And he looks down, and he's not wearing shoes. And there are no tools of any kind. He's got shorts on. He doesn't know what to do. But he, he's got the Florida Man in his soul. He just didn't know it yet. So he finds a trash can and he goes to work and he captures the gator. And they're like, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know exactly how it's animated or what what kind of CGI we use, but suddenly there's a mark, like, first task completed, much like recording started or whoever it says.
Yeah.
There's a big. We should get the guy whose voice is on our recording program. That's what does it say at the beginning? Whatever. Now recording. Yeah, we'll get that guy's voice because it makes everyone feel good who hears it. So task 1 completed. That kind of thing. And suddenly he's transported to West Africa, and you don't know why a Florida man needs to be in West Africa, but he finds himself amongst a group of chimpanzees. Okay. And these chimpanzees look almost feral in their anger and their wildness. And he doesn't know, like, he's not given a task specifically to do here. He just needs to survive, basically. So he could go in several different ways. He could become, a violent chimpanzee playing menace, or he could find a way to get everyone to get along. So he goes and he finds this breadfruit that's on the ground, and he's like, "Oh, I've read about this." Apparently, he's really big into like African produce. So he's read all about all of the potential African produce. He's like, "I know this ferments easily, so we might be onto something here." So he gathers it, and he tries to gather all of his chimpanzee friends together in peace and love, and they join him. And they start singing "Kumbaya" in chimpanzee. I don't know what that sounds like. It's probably terrible. But they gather together, and they all get kind of rollicking drunk, and they have a feast together, and everybody's sharing, and everybody's happy, and all the chimpanzees are just having a great time, and they're learning what it's like to feast together. So they're happy. Oh. Boom! Second task completed. He did what he needed to do. He survived, and not only did he survive, he made the world a better place, which is really the mark of a Florida man. We love that. Boom! He's transported to Japan. Oh, and yes. He hears. There's a little bit of a narrative device of a radio story that somehow he can understand in English, even though he does not speak, Japanese. He understands it. Yes. And it's talking about the crime wave that is happening across all of Japan, and somehow he just knows intuitively the best way to fight crime in Japan. Yes. Yeah. Say it. Yeah. Say it. And he says. Say it. He says, "F this! I'm not going to fight crime that way." And we find out that it's actually 1943 or 42. I don't know. And he just calls in the Enola Gay. No, you can't. No, Craig, no. Why? You completed. You bastard. I picked up the gauntlet and threw it down, and then you picked it up and threw it down again. Damn you, Craig. Oh, for those of you not familiar with history, good, because you don't understand what I just did. It was awful. It was really fucking awful. It was really evil. It was really evil what I just did. But hey, crime was taken down quite a bit as a result. Oh, no. I mean, we should be picking. We should be picking up instead of gauntlets. What should we be picking up? Oh, maybe a box of Q-tips. Yes, a box of Q-tips. And what should we do with that box of Q-tips? Well, the box of Q-tips is the traditional way to start a duel, so that does make sense. Yes. But if you really want to know how to start the duel correctly, you probably need to read the instructions on the Q-tip box. And they always put those. Oddly enough, they don't put them on the front because that's what you would think. Right. But no, you should probably flip that bad boy over to get the dueling instructions because they're listed below the how to properly use the Q-tips. Yes. It's pretty small print, so you might have to pull out a microscope. And while you get the microscope out, you could even put on a race if you wanted to. But more importantly, you could read. You could read the back of the Q-tip box. Good night. Because Brian, you should always read the back of the Q-tip box.
Untitled with Brian and Craig is produced and edited by me, Brian Dunnigan. It is also hosted by me, Brian Dunnigan, as well as Craig Dodge. Opening and ending themes are created by AI, so nobody has license to those.